What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm NONPFIXION. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as notification bell to stay up to date on all content going down on this channel. Appreciate you, love you. Now to the video.
Nah, this ain't nonsense, this is non-fiction. So excuse if the content is offensive, it's official. Now that we have been acquainted, this is my pleasure, my pain, your entertainment.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is NONPFIXION. This is Ready Said Geek, and we have some new information about the Blade movie coming to the MCU universe, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's from Everything Always, aka Michael Roman. He's a great content creator. Most of his content it evolves around Marvel. He always has breaking information. Let's get into it. Let's pull him up and let's see what information we have about Blade.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, considering all the news and hype for Guardians of the Galaxy, which seems to be warranted, and I'm sure we're all very excited to see it next week, there was a major bombshell headline that broke last night and sort of quietly under the radar in an exclusive from The Hollywood Reporter with the normal sources like Variety filling in today, that officially Marvel Studios has hired their third writer for the Blade script in less than 8 months. And this just a month before they're set to start filming in late May. We're going to talk about who they've now hired, his specific history with Mahershala Ali. Of course, if the script was perfect, they wouldn't need a third writer this late in the game, and what this actually means for Blade.
Heard the script has got issues.
There's a little bit of
major
positive,
issues.
There's a little bit of negative, and we're going to talk about it all. The latest update that they now have a third writer for this Blade script. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we do daily Marvel content at the channel. And that's all we
subscribe
do.
to the channel.
So
seriously, subscribe to the channel.
Trailers and reviews to the occasional
it's worth
industry
it. It's
insider
worth it.
report like we're covering today and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway.
Can't wait for Ironheart.
Less than
I'm looking forward to that
on Thursday when Guardians drops. If you want to be entered to win, again, just hit the sub button. Leave a comment on this video, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so again, the initial headline last night from The Hollywood Reporter read, Marvel's Blade nabs True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto for writing duties exclusive, where they go on to report,
so that's the
connection
creator
of the acclaimed crime anthology True Detective is working on Blade, Marvel Studios' vampire thriller starring Mahershala Ali. The development marks a True Detective reunion as Ali starred in season 3 of Pizzolatto's HBO show. Blade is batting its wings towards a late May start of production in Atlanta with Jan Demange, who helmed the pilot of HBO's boundary-pushing horror series Lovecraft Country, in the director's chair. Blade currently has a script by Michael Starbury, who earned an Emmy nomination for penning an episode of Ava DuVernay's drama When They See Us. Sources say Pizzolatto is working off of Starbury's draft and has been keyboarding for a few weeks now. So basically what they're saying is Michael Starbury was hired to rewrite the script back in October. If you remember the initial report, Mahershala Ali was said to be very disappointed with a 90-page script, which by a lot of accounts is very short in a Hollywood industry setting. That's only about an hour or an hour and a half worth of film. It also was said to have not enough action sequences, or rather, and specifically, 2 very lackluster action sequences. This coming from industry insider Jeff Snyder, who we're going to talk about in just a second, because just weeks ago, he also indicated that the script was still not up to Mahershala Ali's liking, and now we're getting this report that they've hired a third writer. Now, as I briefly mentioned during the prologue, if the script was perfect, they would not need a third writer in this late in the game. So if this sounds as cautionary or as red flaggy to you as it did to me, 100%. But the fact that they went and got 100%. The guy that Mahershala Ali would handpick if he could also tells me that Michael Starbury's draft might also be okay. Mahershala Ali just wants this guy to come in and do a little bit better. And let me explain exactly why. When you have a writer that's part of one of your more acclaimed acting sequences that had to do with True Detective, he knows that that writer highlights what's best about his acting. Also, Pizzolatto goes way further than just being a screenwriter. Rather, that's something he started doing later in his career. He's actually an award-winning novelist and short story writer. He's better known for that stuff. So
he's good at telling a story. Award-winning
storytelling in the first place, and he's the guy that Mahershala Ali knows can best highlight his acting with the dialogue and the story that he's telling. this is no different than, I would say, pre-recording a demo with one producer and you get it sort of where you like it, and then you bring it to someone else for a mix and master. It doesn't mean that what you recorded you're not using. So it's not exactly the same situation as back in October when they completely threw that script out and hired a new writer. They're working from a starting point, and as this article mentioned, he's been at it for a couple of weeks now. So the fact that they're filming in late May and they have a third writer, that's not that big a deal. He probably knew the size and the scope of what he had to bite off and the timetable that he had to do it. So he's just rather polishing and finishing the script. To me, this is not a bad thing at all. This is actually great. This means that Mahershala Ali and Marvel are committed to putting the resources and time into getting what they need to out of the script. And as I constantly tell you guys, maybe my only gripe with Marvel that I think is legitimate has been their writing. It's ground zero for a good project. If they don't get it right here, it's very hard for CGI or even good actors to outact a bad script or a bad story. There's either a payoff or there's not. No amount of acting and CGI can earn that. That's in the storytelling itself. Now, just to change subjects for a little bit from the story to the reporter, and as I just mentioned, Jeff Snyder's been probably, I would consider, newer on the scene, at least for my channel in reporting. He sort of showed up at the end of last year with his scoops on the Hot Mic podcast, but as far as our reporting here at the
Jeff
channel,
Snyder is a good insider to trust too.
Fruition. About a few weeks ago or a month ago, out of nowhere and on his own, he mentioned that this was the case, that the script wasn't quite up to snuff yet, that Mahershala Ali still had problems with it, or rather it was reported that Mahershala Ali was still being a pain in the butt for Marvel because this isn't what he wanted. So now that we're hearing a third writer has been brought on, it doesn't mean everything was perfect by any means. It also means that Jeff Snyder has earned a lot of reverence as far as his scoops becoming true and in a short amount of time. Sometimes we have to wait for over a year for a project to come out to verify a scoopster, and by that point you've completely forgotten what they said in the first place. Old tweets can be deleted by these Twitter scoopsters. Old Reddit posts and 4chan posts can be deleted. So it is kind of cool to see one of these newer industry insider sources get corroborated by someone like the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and within this short amount of time. So hats off to Jeff Snyder and his most recent scoops. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, what you want from Blade. If you agree with me, it's got to be violent, and man, huge shoes to fill that it's got to live up to at least the first and second Blade. If you put out a Blade movie, it's got to be better than the originals.
It's got to be better than
doing it. I think that's been Mahershala Ali's thoughts since the very beginning. Let me know down in the comments quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we are still giving away a PlayStation 5, and instead of doing subscriber milestones as we hit 1 million right before the new
as
year,
it goes over
we're
the
going to do it to coincide with
the
release of
giveaways.
Marvel movies.
If you are interested in
Guardians of
possibly
the Galaxy
getting
right around the
winning
corner
a
next
PlayStation
Thursday.
5,
That's
definitely
when we'll be
subscribe to the
giving away
channel.
the next PlayStation 5.
It is
Super
true. It's
simple
not
to
no
win.
scam.
All the
He's
same
very
rules will
honest
always
about it.
apply to the
I've
channel.
spoken to
Just
him
hit the
in
subscribe
DMs
button because you need
before.
to be a subscriber.
He's actually a really
Leave
good
a
person,
comment
really
down
nice
below.
person.
And because it's true
Some of the stuff he talks about,
the more
he
videos
didn't have
comment
to
on,
like, talk to
the
me
better
about,
chance you
but
have
he's
of
actually
winning.
really a dope
All
person.
winners will always be announced at the end of videos.
So I always
live
will
with my voice in the
say
comment
his
section
channel
on the
is
screen. The best
one of
way
the
to
best
keep up
when it
with
comes
content
to
here at the
Marvel
channel
content, because
is to hit the
he's really
notification
accurate, and,
bell, all
and the content that he
notifications
puts
turned
on, as far as
And
things
as
he
always,
talks about,
if you liked
most of the
today's
people
video,
aren't talking
I'd
about the
really
same thing.
appreciate it
So
if
you want to look when you're trying to find
My
something
name's
slightly
Michael
different about
Bremen. You can
Marvel,
find me on Twitter
hit
at
him up and
Fires.
check his
You can
channel
also
out.
find
And
me
it's
on
always
all
something slightly
platforms wherever you
different
listen
than
to
everybody
original
else.
music,
Most
Spotify,
people
YouTube, Amazon, Apple,
like they either
iTunes,
react to
under
somebody
the
else's
name
content like I'm
Wildfires
doing with
NC,
his,
aka
or
the beginning of the
they see
video.
somebody
And in
post
fact,
something and
the
they
new
reiterate and
EP
do the
I
same
put out
content
last week
themselves,
charted
you know,
in the top
which
25
is what
alternative records in the
a
country
large percentage
unbelievably,
of
and that's
information
mostly
about
due in part to y'all's huge support. So thank you
large
very
part what information is about, you know, when it comes to the leakers and stuff like that. You have the main leakers who know what's going on, who actually has a really good in on stuff, and those who just take what they put and put their own spin on it and just repurpose it for their own likes and views. Iron Fires is actually really good at it, and he's been doing it for quite a while. I mean, he's 1 million subscribers strong, and that he's been growing fast. So I'll put a link in the description for this video so you can check him out, and also subscribe to his channel. Like I said, you may actually win a PlayStation 5. He's given away a one before, and I know he gave it to a little kid who was a subscriber that had to prove everything to the mom and all that, but she got it and they took pictures of it. It was actually pretty dope. But it's interesting to know that they've hired a new writer, a third writer, as he said. But when you think about it, whatever comes of this script, it has to be better than at least the first Blade. It has to top the first. Blade has such a cult following has such a cult following, and everybody knows that it's been, Blade was the first. Blade is one of the first comic book movies that really was out there that was actually good quality movie. It's not like, the Fantastic Four that was, utter trash, not like some of the other ones, but it's one of the, for Marvel. Because I know we had, Superman way before that, and we had Batman way before that. I know that. But I'm saying, as far as a high quality, top tier movie, but also just happened to be a comic book character, Blade was one of the best and be first for Marvel. I keep saying it for Marvel. This is interesting to see that they hired somebody else, but also a writer / director that Mahershala likes and can vibe with. That's important. But the fact that he's also an actual award-winning story writer, like he's actually a book, he's written books and actually like he's knows what he's doing. So that means that the story it's got its good backbone, but they want to tighten up, make it better for the fan base, make it better for the story. But it has to be better than the original Wesley Snipes movies. If it doesn't top that, there's no point. There's absolutely no point. And I think Mahershala may feel that in what the scripts look like or reads like right now. So I'm happy with this. It's not necessarily shocking because this happens quite frequently, and just because we're into Marvel and DC, we pay attention and notice it more because these are things that we like and we love. Now, Jeff Snyder, he is an insider. I'm not sure if he's pretty familiar with him, but I'm pretty familiar with him from a different group of creators that are on YouTube, but they're all kind of have their fingers in the industry. Like the John Campia, the Real Rejects, the Snyder, those guys are all connected, you know what I'm saying? And they're all friends. They all know each other. And I've been following them for a very long time. I'm not subscribed to any of Jeff Snyder's. I know him because of someone else, and I've heard him speak, and some of the things that he's talked about has come to fruition later down the line where people didn't believe him. So I could kind of take what he's saying and with more than a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? I can just take his word as bond, because he's fairly knowledgeable when it comes to being an insider, and that's what he calls himself. He calls himself the insider. So, but with that being said, you guys let me know what you think about this addition to the cast and crew for the new Blade, and the fact that it was announced, but not really big time announced. It wasn't like they came out big. They just did a quick little story in Variety, which is where most things that happen in Hollywood gets put out in Hollywood is through that magazine. But we'll have to see what happens. We know, like he said, the film is supposed to take place in May, and hopefully by the time they get to that point, they'll have their first 40, 50 pages of script that makes sense to them and feels like a solid, good A+ movie. And that's what they want. And then in 90 pages, that's not a lot. That's not a lot when it comes to movies. It's not a lot at all. You're looking at about an hour to hour 15 with credits. You're looking at hour 22. So you do want a bunch of story, but you also want action. It's Blade. It has to be action, 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 action. It has to be, because the action will compound the story and make it just a beautiful thing. But with that being said, link in the description for this video. Please go subscribe to everything always. My name is NonFiction. This is Ready Set Geek. Hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, morning, noon, wherever you are in the world today. I appreciate you. I love you. And thank you for pressing play. Peace out, y'all.